Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And telling you all about the games that we have played.
Especially right now, because we just got back from BGG Con Spring.
BGG Spring.
Spring 2020.
BGG Con is in the fall.
BGG.con Spring 24. That's what this says.
Well, Board Game Geek held a wonderful convention down in Dallas, Texas, where we, mainly Tyler, got to play some games.
Mainly me.
Because I worked.
Mm-hmm. And that is the only reason I actually decided to go, really.
So he can play games without me.
I had some friends down there that I was very excited to hang out with, so I got the opportunity to play a bunch of games, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Before we dive into the games, we'll share some of the two highlights that we had. First highlight, Tyler got to partake in a charity, not auction.
It was like a charity buy
games.
So BGG, I guess, like they do, like they'll go through their collection and then they'll bring some games that are like either a little dated or they have extra copies of, and then they'll put them up for charity. And I can't remember the exact name for the charity, but it was for a good cause. So
nice.
Yeah.
And Tyler was this close to getting Oracles of Delphi.
This close, yeah, I was.
But instead he got three games that he showcased to me. The first one is
The Prodigals Club. I grabbed it and I saw it was just by Vladimir Sushi. And I looked over to Jeff from Foster the Meeple. I was like, hey, what's this game about? And he's like, you'd like it. And then that was all I needed to do to get sold on this.
And that's the Prodigals Club.
Mm-hmm. And then the other two games we've kind of been looking for. Well, this one in particular.
We've really been wanting to play Undaunted.
Yes,
so this was a really good grab.
Two-player game. I was really excited about that.
Heard amazing things.
Then this was actually just like a random grab. It's a Friedman Freeze game. And it's called Fire, which also, it's a two-player game, so I'm kind of excited about it. It's like an arcade-esque Space Invader type board game. That's really all I know about it.
It's more of a solo game, but you can play together against the game, which is fun. We always love two-player games, so those are exciting to check out.
And Friedman Freeze always usually has some quite interesting games. So.
Yeah, we'll be chatting about one of them. All right. Now, the other highlight is we both got to partake in a poker tournament.
We did, yes.
So what Board Game Geek does is apparently this is a tradition. This was our first time doing it.
Not apparently, it definitely
is. It is a tradition. And Jeff from Board Game Geek puts these on, and he's fantastic. And I've never seen a poker event more welcoming to newcomers than this one. Like, in my first table, there's, I think, 3 or 4 people I've never played before. Oh. And as the table, we all rallied, we all supported each other. It was really fun. I ended up making it into the top, I think, 25 out of 120 people, which is pretty good. And Tyler?
I did not. They rotate you around tables, like, eventually, like, when things start getting a little bit smaller. And then I was, like, doing okay. And then I got to this table, and there's this person at the table that had just, like, triple of what everybody else had, and I got really intimidated. Looked at my hand, I think it was a 9-10 on suit, and I was like, sure, all in. It didn't work. It did not work.
But I think if we were to go again, we would definitely do it again, because it was really fun.
Yeah, I would try. I'm not much of a poker player, but
the vibes were just good.
It was a good time.
The vibes were good.
Yeah.
But now we're going to do a rapid fire games of all the games that we played. Mostly even some of the ones that I played too. Some of the ones I actually played without Tyler.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we're going to kick it off. I have my handy dandy notebook, and in our rapid style, there's 25 games we're going to go over.
We played 25 games over there. That's pretty good.
And some of the games we played multiple times.
Yes.
So there's more plays, but 25 unique games.
Yeah.
All right. Ready to go?
Yeah.
I'll start off with 3 that I played without you.
Okay.
First one, Tinderblox. I've always wanted to play this one. It's essentially where you grab the little blocks and you stack them based on the card that's flipped.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But the card that's flipped, sometimes it's your non-dominant hand.
Oh, fun.
And if anything knocks
like
over...
Hammer Time.
Basically.
Okay.
But it's a little compact box. It's very handy, so it was really fun.
Stack on top of the box? That would be
Not
cool.
on top of the box.
Okay, cool.
It's not quite Hammer Time.
Right, cool.
But it was really fun. I really liked it. And I think I have footage of Jeff crushing the tower.
Oh, making it fall over? Yeah. Oh, no.
As Jeff usually does.
Rude.
Love you, Jeff. Another game that we played, we didn't actually play fully, but we got to try it. It's called Panda Spin. This is a game that I played with Foster the Meeple. And it's a trick-taking game, and essentially where if you lose the trick, you take back your cards, spin them around.
And they're a different card.
And they're a different card.
Yes.
And your whole point of the game is to get rid of your hand.
Yeah.
We'll be talking more about this game, but it was really fun and really trippy to play, and I'm really excited to play it again.
Yeah.
And another game that I played, but Tyler also played later in the weekend, is Wine Cellar.
Yes.
Wine Cellar is currently on Kickstarter with the 25th Century suite, and it's a really fun more player count game because you can play up to 8 players.
Yeah.
All you're doing is you're bidding with your wine bottles to take wine bottles from the center, and the ones that you take, you arrange either top or the bottom of the ones that you have, and you're trying to get the most points based on position where they are in the tile.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Really smooth, really fun, and quite enjoyable.
You also have a client.
Yes, that's like a secret objective almost. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Now, a game that Tyler played is Full Throttle.
Full Throttle. Yeah, I like this. It's like if you just took the racing aspect of Camel Up, and hot take, I don't really like Camel Up. So when we got to Full Throttle, I was like, oh, this will be interesting. And it's just like this flip your card, move these like motorbikes around this track, and then see who ends or finishes first, and whoever has like the most points based on like the cards that you end up drafting like wins the game. It was a lot of fun.
It looked a lot like Long Shot because I came in at the end.
It's like the race of Camel Up, and then like a Long Shot as well, like slammed together.
Fun.
But you just like somebody will win the race, or you'll run out of cards.
That sounds fun. Now, speaking of parties and fun, look at that transition. We played the same game.
The same game.
Yes. I really like the same game. I thought it was really fun. Essentially, the premise of the game is there's going to be categories on the board, and you're going to get one of the categories is going to be a trap. You don't want everybody else to guess it. So then you'll get a card that is like a refrigerator, and then you'll write a clue that is similar to the refrigerator in your category,
based on the category,
but not the other ones.
Yep.
It's really trippy to explain.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. I feel like when you first played it, it didn't quite click. But then when we played it later,
yeah, I don't know. I think the first time we played it, I don't know what happened. I just wasn't as enjoyable as the second time we played it.
It's because I wasn't there the first time.
I enjoy it as like a party game. It's like a cool little puzzle that like everybody gets to work together with. That's all I'll really say about that one, honestly.
Yeah, I think the cool part about it is the suspense of like revealing one by one.
Yeah,
see like if everyone's thinking it's gonna be this one and you reveal it and it's not, and everyone's so excited. I like that part of the game.
Yeah, you want to make it so obvious that the two words are connected in that way that like the players around you won't choose it. So it's nice.
Another game that we played was Disney Villains the card game. Now, I taught this. I love Disney Villains the card game. I also learned that it was actually a reskin of a really old game.
Yeah.
But I forget what game it's called.
Yeah.
But they added player powers, which is new, because it used to be one deck rather than individual decks.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of fun. It's so simple to play, and I feel like that was a shared sentiment, as everyone actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the Disney theme with the powers was really, really cool. I think this is like a hidden gem almost, because it's not talked about a whole lot, and like every time we show it to people, they see it and they're like, oh, okay, this will just be a card game, but then they really enjoy it, so it's always good to see.
True. We also played Go Nuts for Donuts.
That one was fun. I liked that one. It's like bidding, except if you bid the same number as somebody, you're like out of the bid.
Cancel out.
And you're just basically trying to set collect to make the most points.
I love that mechanic.
It was great.
Like when you do the same thing as somebody else, neither of you get to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's so clever. It's such a fun mechanic.
It is.
And here it's just simple. It's fun. And it's donuts.
Yeah.
And they all have faces.
Yeah, they're all cute.
It's very fun.
Cute.
So the next game on our list, we actually got to play, Tyler got to play multiple times.
Twice, actually.
Is Dice Town.
It was fun.
I really wanted to play it, so I got the privilege to play it the second time.
This one's really neat because it's like you roll the dice and then you cover them in your cup, and then you get to pick one, but then you can pay for like keeping more or keeping none, and you want to make like the best poker hand, but also be like wary of like, do you want to win the majority of 9s, 10s, jacks, kings, queens, because you'll get benefits for it, and that's in essence what the game is. I will say that we played it at 3 and then we played it at 5, and it was much better at 5 because there was this like part of the game where if you don't win anything, you also get a bonus, and that didn't happen as often at a 3-player.
I don't think it happened at all.
I don't think it happened at all. Yeah.
But I really liked it 3 players, so that means it's even cooler that it's better at a higher player count. Because that was definitely one of my favorites of the convention.
Yeah.
Now, another you played is Surfosaurus MAX, which looked really cool.
Yeah, this one was neat too. It was like a, how do I describe it? A Fuji flush, but with poker hands.
Everything with poker hands.
I know, it's interesting. It seems to be like a theme that's happening. But basically, like on your turn, you could play a card from your hand, and you'd want to make, out of the cards that you see on your table, you want to make the best poker hand or be a part of the best poker hand.
Ooh.
Because if you are, you get to keep them, and they go under, well, it depends, but there's like half points or full points. It's like full coconuts, half coconuts. But if you get full, you either get full points or half points depending on how you contributed to the game.
Do you ever go bananas?
No, you do, and you don't go nuts for donuts either. So
there's dinosaurs?
There's dinosaurs on surfboards. It's amazing.
Okay.
It makes no sense thematically, but I loved it. So
I want to play that one. It looks fun.
It's good.
Another one we got to play is Tangram City.
Yes, we played this one before, but
we got to teach it this time.
Yes.
It's such a simple game. It's just a tile placement. You flip the tiles, but I think
a little twist.
The cool twist is that some players have information others don't, because you know the 4 cards that are come out. Sometimes me as a player who's last will know the last card that comes out.
Yes.
So I'll know the shape that will come at the very end.
For it, yeah.
So I can kind of plan for it. And I think that small twist actually makes the game really fun.
And the balancing of the cities and parks, it's like very interesting to try and like get that happening because you get a bunch of points for making it work.
It breaks my brain though because it's not symmetrical flips.
Oh yes.
So if you flip, your shape is technically different.
Yeah, you basically have to rotate it 90 and then it would work. But yeah, it doesn't.
But not always.
It doesn't work all the time
because some of the shapes are not symmetrical.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really interesting. It hurts my brain. Another we played, which we've played now in 4 different cities.
Oh.
Contrabanter.
Oh yes.
So Contrabanter is a really fun party game where you're just trying to sneak in words, and the other team is trying to catch you in those words. Yes. But there's prompt questions you'll ask them. Always tons of laughs, always some very clever plays. But in general, it was a really good time.
Yeah, I find this game, like, I always go to, like, real stories, and it's very funny because, like, me and Ilya were on a team this time. Well, last time we were 2, but we, like, would go back and forth with our story and then, like, slide the word in, and it felt pretty good when we, like, were able to get it past everybody. Yeah.
It's really, I feel like, at first, I didn't think it'd be a game I like. But the more that we play it, the more I like it. And it definitely could become one of like the go-to party games for me.
Yeah, I'm not there with you on that.
Fair.
I think I enjoy it, but it gives me too much anxiety.
That's fair.
Like, because I'm so worried about getting the words in. And then I'm also so worried about contributing that it just isn't as fun as I would like it to be because I'm just so like drenched in anxiety.
It is really defeating if someone catches you and then you don't want to say anything.
Or if you're unable to contribute to the conversation.
That's
so
true.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. Up next, we played Spots, which is one of the games I've really wanted to play.
Yeah.
It's a push your luck game where you're assigning a little dice to dogs. I had Lil Beth. Lil Beth was the best dog that you could ever see. I hope I took a picture. If I did, here it is. If I didn't, just imagine the most coolest dog ever. Her name's Lil Beth.
She had a lot of swagger.
She did.
So
I pushed my luck. I won. It was a ton of fun. I would play Spots again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's neat. I like the little actions that you have to choose from. And then, it's like a draft action game. So
Yeah. With dice.
Yes.
Dice. And there's spots on the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point.
That's the point. Now, another game I got to play for the first time, which I really wanted to play, was Decrypto.
Decrypto!
I think that was actually, I was telling Tyler that was my convention goal, because I'm planning a fun party games video, a solo video from me. And Decrypto is one of the party games I have not played before. So that was my goal, is to play this game during BGG Spring, and we reached that goal.
Yes.
And I will say, it was a very fun head-to-head game. Our teams were very equally matched.
Yeah.
We ended up, people were saying like, oh, we never get this far in Decrypto.
Yeah, I think you have to have a special... like not a special set of people, but like you have to have the like equal playing field type people where like you're working together apart, I guess is the best way to put it. But it's very interesting to see like that one team's brain work and then another team's brain work and then see what they've like hive mind together to make sure that you're not getting each other's words and combos. It's really cool.
It was fun. I play again. We played Nana.
Nana, classic. I love it. It's so much fun.
Flip cards. Be the first to get...
Try to get 3.
3, 2 that got up to 7 or 7s and you win.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone almost did get 7s.
No, somebody did get 7s.
Someone did get 7s. That's
Dave
pretty
got
rare.
7s, yeah.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
And then we played Left Right Dilemma.
That one was fun. If you've played Challengers, this is also
Champions.
Champions. It's like a party game where you're basically skiing down a hill, but you have to go left or right based on like the decision you would make, and then you end up at one chalet, and then everybody around the table has to like talk amongst each other to see and guess what chalet the active person ended at, and at the end you knock and reveal if you were actually there, and then that's how you like score points.
And there's like decision trees, so like are you a messy eater or are you a clean eater? And then we kind of we think Tyler thinks he's a clean eater, and then we kind of follow the line.
Yeah, and the questions range from like very lighthearted to like
very not safe for work.
Yeah. So it was very interesting to see. Like we definitely expected it, but obviously like
it was fun.
It's fun to see it play out.
Yep, agreed. Then Tyler got to play Cuba Libre.
That's all I can really say. It was a lot of fun. I really appreciate Jeff teaching the entire game and then us sitting down and like playing it all together.
How long did it take?
It took us like 4 hours, I want to say.
Okay.
Not 5. But it was a long game. There's just like a lot of reading. The game itself is actually really smooth, and I loved like the action sequence that was going on. But for the most part...
What's the point of the game? I actually don't know much about it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you're basically one of 4 factions during like Fidel Castro, like when he was doing shenanigans down in Cuba.
Okay.
So it's like historical. But also like it's under like the coin game. What's it called?
Coin.
Yeah, it stands for something. Cooperative intelligence, maybe. I can't remember. But basically, all you're doing is you take these. You would take an action based on what faction you were, and like there'd be priority on a card, and that would determine turn order. Mm-hmm. So you'd be able to like do an active. Do something as your turn, and then the next player would be able to do that, and so on and so forth. And it just like cascaded into this area control type game where all the factions had different ways to win. Mm-hmm. So it was like a back and forth between each of the factions trying to like balance them out. Yeah.
It looks fun. I would want to try it.
I played the Directorio, which is just like the students rising above.
Oh. Did you win?
I did not win. It was a very close game, though,
I remember you sent me the scores, and it was like 3-1, -1, and -1.
Yeah. Like so it basically ends when somebody's completed their goal and this like propaganda card is like active, or at the end of the game, you take like a delta, essentially, and it's basically like they have a calculation for each faction to figure out where you stand, and then if whoever has the highest score after that wins, but sometimes it brings you into the negative.
That gives me vibes of Twilight and Struggle scoring, because there's like the one way to win, or like the.
It's a GMT game.
That's true.
So.
Yeah. Then you played Fast Sloths.
Yeah, that one was fun. That's like a racing game where you're basically just going around the map as sloths.
But the sloths are slow.
Yes, they're slow. But the trick is that they jump onto other animals who have different abilities to move you around the map.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's so silly.
What kind of animals?
So there was like a giraffe which like could pick you up from 2 spaces away and then move and then drop you off.
Is it because of its head?
Yeah, it's because of the long neck. There was goats which could like basically just jump anywhere, and then rabbits which would like run around the fields. My favorite was like gorillas.
I just want to picture a sloth hugging a rabbit with his poor rabbit that's trying to like hop.
Well, and I think that's the whole thing. And then there was like gorillas which would chuck you across certain number of spaces, and then humans which would always like run from resort to resort. But you basically had to collect all of your leaves from the different or all but one, I guess, from the different area, and then whoever did it the fastest won.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds fun.
It was a very close game. Like, I think at least 3 of us finished collecting it on the final turn. Like, we went around, and it ended up being a tiebreak. So it was really cool to see.
That sounds like I would play that one as well.
I would like to own that
all
game.
the fun games.
I'd like to own that game.
Well, we gotta find it. Next up, we have Nekojima.
Nekojima!
I got to play that one.
Yeah, it's a dexterity game.
I like the dexterity game, yeah. You got to stack poles, and then there was electrical wires, and you could hang, basically, cats
Yeah, they're cats.
would hang, and if stuff falls, bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
I like the cool part, I think, was the cubes.
Yeah,
that came out, and like you draw and you place in different areas, and how like they'd be specifically placed. Mm-hmm. My controversial take is I don't love when games present themselves as both cooperative or competitive, which this game did.
It did, yeah.
Because I think in the beginning I'm like, what type of game is it? And it was like, both. And I'm like, I like it when there's like one predominant and maybe there's a cooperative version.
Yeah, like a variant.
So, because I feel like that just feels a little weird, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, the cooperative version is mostly just like how far can you get, and the competitive is like how evil can you be to make your like the opponent knock it over. So it's kind of neat.
The wires were really cool because you got zapped.
Yes.
Then we played a glorious game of fun facts.
You'll love this game.
I love
this
facts.
game too. I think it's a great icebreaker. You get to know people a little bit more.
We got to learn both Jeff and Jamie and Nick and Mike a little bit more.
Yes, exactly.
And we actually did really well.
I think we did really
For
well.
some questions of like not knowing each other very well in some topics, I think we looked at each other and judged each other really well.
Yeah, and judged each other really well. That's fun facts.
Fun facts. We also got to play, so I didn't get to play this, but I since then had got to play it. And that's Captain Flip.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to tell us about Captain Flip?
Captain Flip is an amazing game because
it's so fun.
All you're doing is filling up your ship with different crew members, and they all do different things. But on your turn, you pull from a bag, you look at one side, and then you either place it onto your board into an empty slot, or you're allowed to flip it over, but you have to take what you flip over. So there's some neat combinations that end up going on, and then like at the end of the game, whoever has the most coins wins. There's like immediate scoring, end game scoring. It's a lot of fun, and it's super quick.
It's super quick. There's a reference guide that explains everything. There's 4 different maps. I think this game hits the marks across the board.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Really, really liked it.
Really like Captain Flip. I got to play it since because everyone's raving about it. So like, I have to play it now.
We also
and me and Tyler played it and we loved it. It was waiting for us when we got home.
Yes, exactly.
Fun. Another one I'm really sad I did not get to play, which took how many hours?
Maybe 3.
Dominant Species.
Yeah.
But we own that one, and it's been on our wanting to play list for a long time. And now that Tyler knows how to play, we're probably going to play it within a couple weeks.
We have to play it within a couple weeks, because if we don't, I will forget how to play it, and then I won't want to read the rulebook.
It looked really fun. I came in during scoring, but I'll tell you my observation, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. From my observation, it was a lot of like action sequence.
Yes.
And then people would take control of territories by place and want to feed their different people, different animals with the foods that is on their player board. And if that food is accessible, they don't go extinct and they stay there. And then there's area controls. Whoever has the most scores the set amount of points. Whoever has the second most gets the scored amount of points. And the scoring I thought was really fun because I love that in games. So like different tiles have different scoring, and sometimes you don't want to have the most, which I don't know if was the case for this one. Was the most always the most points?
Most was always the most points.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not the second most wasn't sometimes.
Yes.
But I do like it when the second sometimes scores more points.
Yeah, it was just like very interesting because the majority of the time, like for the majority of the game, you'd only score certain areas. So like you'd do a dominate action, and then you'd select an area, and then that would be the only place that's scored. So the way you got a lot of your points was making sure you took that action and then like doing other things around the board, like placing, exploring, and all this other stuff to gain yourself more points. However, at the end of it, you still want to be paying attention to like what areas you control, because that ultimately like will help you be able to score more points, because all the tiles are then scored at the very end, which I found very, very interesting. I played the birds, and let me just tell you, I felt really good about my game, and I ended up taking the win, and that felt really, really awesome. But it is just like a simple action sequence where you're following along, and once you understand it, it's really just about figuring out like which species does what and how you can like counteract what's going on, because at the end of the like what was wild about the game is if some of your species like were eliminated for whatever reason, they didn't return to your supply. They
go extinct.
Literally, would just like go back into the box. So you had to like manage that.
That's fun.
And still be able to like beat everything else that was going on the board. It was
Did
really
you make
fun.
other players go extinct on purpose?
Yeah, there's a action that's like compete, and you literally are competing against and then of course like you can move the resources that are found in different spaces. So if like you had an animal that was in one space and you removed that resource, at the end of the round you'd go extinct unless you could move it.
Eat it. Now another game that Tyler got to play was Coffee Rush. And we played that game
We played this
before.
one before. I was excited to teach it.
I love Coffee Rush.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about this game is that it's, even though it takes like 45 minutes to play, I feel like the scores are very low. Because like the winning score of that game, I think, was 6.
I think there was a few negatives, if I remember correctly.
No, it was. I think
there's a couple negatives.
Maybe -1. I think there was only one -1. It might have just been like actually 1 point. But it's like very, very low scoring, but the intensity of that game is really interesting because it starts off and you're like, oh, I've got this, I'll figure it out. And then like 3 turns later, you're like, how am I supposed to do this? And then you have to decide. My favorite part about the game is deciding which
You're gonna give up?
which actions you're gonna activate. Because I think like having all of them activate is great, but it's not worth as much points, and I don't think it's valuable. So you have to like balance whether or not you're going to do one or the other, and I think it's really interesting.
The twist of the game, though, is when you complete recipes, it puts pressure on others to complete
because
their
it gives them
That's the
recipes.
rush.
Yeah.
So, and that's really fun.
Yes.
That game is just, I remember it was one of the games where we're like, this looks really cool. And then we played and we're like,
whoa,
what?
this is neat. Yeah,
this is very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. It was really cool that you got to introduce that to others. We also played Star Wars Bounty Hunters, which just came out.
Yes.
It's a fun little set collection game where you're drawing a card, choosing a card, passing the cards.
Yes.
And you're essentially trying to fulfill bounties by sending bounty hunters against those bounties. And then there's goals and there's some cargo and droids as well. It's very thematic too, Star Wars. It's also fun to hunt Grogu.
It is fun. It's an interesting drafting game, I'll say that much. If you liked Sushi Go, I think that this is like one of those games that you can kind of pick up. Yeah.
I think the benefits of it is you can do it at the same time.
Yeah,
You're
and
always
it's
doing
simultaneous.
something. And it's
so-
pretty quickly. You play in like 15, 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
Then we got Sushi. Speaking of Sushi Go, we got Sushi Go Spin Some for Dim Sum, which also comes out really soon.
Yeah,
if not
I
already.
actually didn't know that this game wasn't out.
Me neither. We played it. We're like, we have it because we've seen that it was coming,
Yeah.
so we assumed it was out. But maybe it's also just out in Canada. So maybe this is just us Canadians speaking.
Oh, yeah. It was fun, though. It was like, I think out of all the Sushi Goes, like I'll say this right off the bat, out of all the Sushi Goes, it wasn't my favorite.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it, and it did still give me the Sushi Go vibe because you're basically manipulating the middle of the board to grab very similar things to score yourself points based on, similar Sushi Go stuff.
There wasn't simultaneous play, which I think was very
there
similar
wasn't.
for other Sushi Go games. But there was a squishy bud. And the squishy bud gave you powers. You could spin the dim sum any amount you want.
Just freely.
But I think the cool part of that game is when you spin, you set other players up for what's facing them. So it's kind of like a double, like, ooh, I don't want Tyler to have that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll move that a little further away from him.
But you have to be careful because you have
Chopsticks
that you need to use.
You can spend the chopsticks, but they're also worth points.
Yes, yeah.
But I liked it a lot. And that brings us to...
You missed one.
Did I?
I know you did.
I did miss Foon Gherkin, or commonly known as 5 Cucumbers. So this was the Friedman Freeze game, and it's perfect that we saved for last because it was ridiculous.
It was pretty awesome.
The way that you play the game is you have one suit of cards, and it's not pickles, it's cucumbers. And your goal is to not win the last trick.
Yep.
But, so when you play a card, you have to either play something equal to or higher. And if you cannot do that,
you have to play
your lowest card. Now, at the end of everyone playing their cards, the person who wins the last trick, the card that they won the trick with, has cucumbers on it. That's how many cucumbers they gain. If you get 5,
you're gone. You're out. Yeah.
And it's elimination. So Tyler's out. We're going to still keep playing without Tyler to see who is the last cucumber, king or queen.
Well, anti-cucumber king, because you don't actually get any of them.
You don't want the cucumbers.
Yes, exactly.
Cucumbers are hilarious. This card game was hilarious. Yeah. I would like to own it. I will say it was very luck dependent because sometimes I drew a card and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do well in this.
Oh yeah, you were dealt.
So you were dealt. A lot of it is how your hand is dealt. But it was still a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughs to be had. And cucumbers are funny. They also had faces.
Exactly, yeah.
And that brings us to an end of our games that we played at
BGG Spring 24.
Now, what was your favorite game of BGG Spring?
What was my favorite game?
Yep.
Probably Dominant Species. Hands down, dominant species.
That's what I
think
want to
so.
play.
Yeah, because I don't. It's one of the games that I've been really meaning to play. Like we have it on our shelves and we just haven't been able to play it. So the fact that we were able to do it, the fact that it was actually like really easy to learn. It was just like going through the steps. I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
I have to decide what mine is.
Yeah, what would you say?
I don't actually know because a lot of
I also really liked Fast Sloths. I thought that one was very, very cute.
A lot of the ones that I really liked were the ones I didn't play because you got to play them and I heard about them. Like, that sounds like a lot of fun.
I did get to play a lot of games, so.
I think if I had to choose one, I think I would choose the same game.
The same game?
Yeah, because I think the one experience that I had when we played it, it was really fun.
It was.
Like, every time we were on our edge of our seats, we were trying to figure out who the player is, what they think, if we're in their same wavelength. And I think we're only off 1 point of a perfect game. Which I think with a full player count, that's really impressive.
And it was actually because there was just a little bit of a misunderstanding on one of the clues. So we actually did really well.
We did extremely well. We knew each other. Well, we knew each other's thinking.
We were on the same wavelength.
And it was
It's ironic because Wavelength has the same designer, or one of the same
Wolfgang
designers.
Warsch,
Yeah.
So Wolfgang Warsch is just really good at party games.
Yeah, I mean...
So I was really excited to try this one. I'm glad that it turned out well. And I'm stoked to play it more.
Yeah, I'm happy I gave it a second chance.
Now, for our question of the day.
Oh.
What game would be the game that you would want to teach at a convention?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
For me, it's always Disney Villains. I feel like that's become my game that I want to bring. Because I feel like it's one of those games like, oh, like it's a quick card game. We'll see. But every time I've showed it to people, people really liked it.
My favorite thing about going to conventions, actually, is I like impress myself with how well I remember rules. And then how well I'm able to teach them games.
Well, it's because you had a good teacher.
Yes, I mean that. But also, like, I also have to give myself some... I have to give the people I play with credit because they're gamers. So like, even if I do mess up, they already have understood it. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. Let's just move on to the next part of the game. And then they ask the right question. Yeah, it feels really good. But I don't know if there's a game in particular that I want to teach. Yeah, I really enjoyed teaching Coffee Rush this time around. So maybe that, or something more like meaty.
I also love people who've never played The Mind before. I love showing people The Mind.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Tyler is very over The Mind. Which I think I would not play it with everybody who knows how to play it, but if there's somebody who's never played it, I feel like it's a really fun concept to bring out.
If you brought that out at a convention, I would just walk to a different table and play another game.
I feel like most of the people at the convention would have played The Mind.
Yeah, maybe, but we're talking specifically about what game you would teach at a convention. So
that's why I didn't choose The Mind. I chose Villains.
Yes. All right. Let us know your answers down in the comment below because we'd love to hear it. And yeah, I guess that's really it.
What convention should we go to next? Maybe GameCon, the biggest convention in Canada?
We know which convention we're going to next because it's here in Edmonton.
GameCon,
until next time,
baby.
though, we're going to sign off.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you later. Bye.